Welcome back to GameSketch, the show where I pay artistic tribute to what I believe to be some of the best games of our times, at least from my very own humble artistic point of view. gameSketch409 is dedicated to Greedfall, a game that I managed to finish together with my wife, I think about 3 weeks ago, and I must say we were very impressed. It turned out to be much deeper and better than we expected. We were looking for something, had our eye on it for a while, and playing it, we must say, pleasantly surprised. The scene in the illustration is taken from a moment in the story where the character's mother is left behind. This is a very moving aspect, given that the game manages to capture something that was true historically, which is to say that a voyage across the ocean used to be something that took at the very least weeks, I assume maybe even much more, and this pretty much meant that with the continent being overrun by a disease, the mother of the main character, who is afflicted, pretty much knows for sure that she will never see her son again, and therefore the goodbye is particularly tragic. As in previous episodes, we begin by going backwards in time, with the hope that this will delight and intrigue you as you get to reveal and discover the initial game screenshot that I started from. I truly admire this game for going on a thin line between a truly original and fictional universe and feeling at every step that it is deeply rooted in our very real historical universe, in the different civilizations, different perspectives, different situations through history, the conflicts resultant from different interest groups and different opinions as to how to resolve situations. I rather enjoy the feeling of the canvas. It particularly helps in the area that I didn't want to attract too much attention to, but doesn't want to feel completely empty. Hope you are also enjoying the music playing in the background. It is my humble music. Should you be interested in more, I'll put the link down in the description. Color-wise, I'm doing something that I kind of find in a way cheesy, but always keeps working, which is a kind of like points of red, blue, and green, which form a, in my opinion, very pleasant to look at color combination. Can feel sometimes a bit artificial, but at other times it can feel really wonderful. I think the game overall had particularly very memorable atmosphere in the sum of all the parts somehow, which is pretty remarkable given the fact that the game sort of like, there's moments when you think it's gonna be historical, and definitely you can see the roots of the historical stuff. The colonies, the old world, new world dynamics, multiple powers in the old world vying over the new world. On the other hand, what is quite amazing is how the game manages to be new and unique in doing that. To be honest, I didn't expect that, and I went in sort of expecting to recognize very much the different civilizations in the new world, but the game pulled the twist on me. And while there were things that I would recognize from one civilization or another, I also was pleasantly surprised to see things that didn't immediately connect. Like, I really felt that the makers of the game did their research in history, and you see Arab cultures with a lean towards science, and you see sort of like our familiar Western heritage kind of a thing. But at the same time, it manages to blend all of these in a way that I thought was, to be honest, surprisingly deep and interesting. As you can see, I'm going back and forth between how much light I can afford to put in there. I try to separate her a bit from the background through a bit of smoke and fog. The stories told in the game had a surprising amount of insights as to the way diplomacy and politics works, about the nature of humans, the tension between the state and the religion, and the different ways of human organization. I think this scene and game movement shows pretty well that the game has some quite wonderful environmental set designs. I'm not gonna say it's always perfect, as some contents and like rooms even feel sometimes recycled, but of course I understand the limitations of the budget and that they couldn't work on it forever. But for what they could do, I think they managed to create some quite intriguing interiors with some historical set piece things. Of what is shown in this illustration, the chair, the furniture, the other little props, I thought that was very interesting and worth dwelling upon. We are now approaching the state where we are getting closer to the initial screenshot, where I'm doing some bold color steps, decisions how to not just vignette but to take the colors through the image. It's that time again, time to guess. Haha, we're back here at the guessing moment. This week I invite you to guess this great game, which somehow I feel is related while not being. It is, I can tell you it is not Gothic or Risen, but rather a game which also allows you to travel with a group and focuses on the interactions between these characters, their experiences and their reactions with the environment. Can you guess this week's bonus game sketch? And we're back to our current game sketch. Developing it further, taking decisions as to what to refine. I am particularly torn about that area with the hanging cloth and the cupboard, because on the one hand I find them cool, on the other hand I don't want them to distract attention from the payoff with the old lady there. Multiple times I've been torn about, do I vignette and make it darker on the edges, or do I show more of that? All in all, I found Greedfall to be a surprisingly deep and insightful game, a large amount of historical research, but presented in a way that was entertaining in a narrative sense and filled with all sorts of little subtleties. I invite you now to immerse yourself into the painting, into her thoughts, and imagine what she's thinking looking out that window. Imagine yourself sitting in the room. Imagine looking around, seeing all the little things, the signs of life. Somebody not just used to, but is living here. Somebody who has been living here for a long time, and you can see all the little discarded or currently not used objects sitting in the corner of the room. Those are part of somebody's lives. They are there and they have a history, but now I guess everything has fallen into disrepair due to this illness which has befallen upon the whole old world, and this tragic situation leads them to send out into the new world in the hopes of getting a cure from there. Now, whether or not this will work in the long run, this will not change, unfortunately, the situation for the mother, for those here who are already afflicted, because it's interesting that indeed in this world it takes long time to travel across the oceans, and even should something be found instantly, they probably won't make it back in time. I think it's a sad but also hopeful story of human nature. Hopeful, you ask? How can it be hopeful? I think part of hopefulness that I see is in the dignity of the mother, in the way that people keep fighting both the disease as a society and as individuals, in the new lives that live and strive and just try anew, each with their new perspective. Even the cousin of the main character, who goes on a possibly somewhat surprising path, I think shows the desire of life to see things, to take things, to expand things. Thank you very much for jumping into the image with your imagination. I hope that you enjoyed your stay there. Until next weekend, bye!